The next station is Kobani Kishpest, where this train terminates. Change here for railways and regional buses.
What is up? Welcome to the absolute best episode of Metro Anarchy to date. My name is Fleek. I am your host and the crazed Metro building maniac behind Metro Anarchy, a channel devoted to all things public transport in cities' skylines. Here we are back in New Halifax Bay, and after last episode's amazingly underwhelming results, we are going to try a few different Metro layouts this time around. In case you didn't see what happened on the first attempt, I will put a link to last episode here. But the short of it is that I built a pretty massive grid metro, like 14 lines and dozens of stations, and it really didn't do all that much. So we are going to see what happens when we build some much simpler metro layouts. First, a little business to get out of the way. I want to congratulate our 50th subscriber, Andrew Kosmowski, who joined the Legion of Metro Anarchists shortly after the last episode aired. We will be naming one of the Metro lines in his honor as promised. On that topic, please take a second to give the video a quick thumbs up. Every like is guaranteed to make the sun shine just a little bit brighter every day, and you too can be awesome like Andrew by subscribing to the channel and banging on that bell to be tipped off when a new episode is posted. So without further ado, let's build some metros. Before we get going building this metro, I wanted to circle back to something that we touched on in the last episode, and that is the city statistics issue that I asked folks to post in the comments or hit me up on Twitter to let me know what is causing all of this craziness here. And Vincent reached out to me and let me know that he thinks that it's because of the updates to the game that it causes some kind of issue here with all of these statistics. And then after that happened, I started to notice that we had lots of problem notifications, and the problem notifications were specifically in commercial areas. We had not enough goods to sell, and then in industrial areas we had not enough raw materials. And so I think that Vincent is correct that the supply chain was breaking down and that there are some other issues with the fact that this is a relatively older save game. I think it's from 2016, and just with all of the updates that go on with the game, that it just doesn't work quite right. So we let it run for about a year total. You know, I ran it for about 6 months, ran the simulation for about 6 months to get the rider numbers down close to 0. And then after I built that metro, last time, that big grid metro, I let it run for about another 6 months. And so I don't think we will have any trouble, since I'm just going to go ahead and build this new metro and let it run from this point in the save, which is essentially right after I took out all of the existing metro. So we are going to do a wheel and spoke metro. I'm basically going to run it around about in here, and then we're going to do, I think, 3 crossing spurs and see how that works. And then also in some areas like down here and up here, I'm going to bring the metro up above ground just because, well, why not? We can. You know, I've tried doing the metro overhaul mod so that I can do video of the underground portions of the metro, and for whatever reason it just crashes everything when I add it to an existing save game. So I think maybe you have to start with it when you're building a city. I may try and do that sometime, but let's go ahead and jump in, and I will start laying down the stations, and then we will do the tracks, and then I'll come back and we will take a look at the metro that we have built. All right, so here we are. We have our ring and spoke metro built. So I got 2 spokes in. Can't remember if I said I was going to do 2 or 3. I only ended up doing 2. And you probably will also have noticed when I was putting in the second spoke, I forgot to record when I was placing the stations, so you didn't see the stations get placed, and then I was so wound up about trying to get it across this gulf here, this big trench, that I also put that piece in. So I was really focused in on the fact that, it's so dumb, I was focused in on the fact that I used the same metro station for all of this line. Let's see, which ones are those? Those are those little, like, cosmopolitan metro stations. I used all of those for this one line that I didn't get to use any of the other metro stations. I wanted to use some of the other metro stations because I mostly use the Joe Boy BV stations that have the multiple tracks. I don't often get to use all of the cool metro stations that I have as assets. So let's see, like that's the same one. I know I have a cool one in here somewhere. I was trying to switch it up here. Yeah, I've got lots of different kinds of cool metro stations, and I don't often get to use them. So on the second one, I got so preoccupied with it that I did not record it. So not too much of a loss there, but we've got the two spurs. So we got a spur coming southwest to northeast, and then one northwest down to southeast, and then we've got two, a clockwise and a counterclockwise ring. So let's take a look at those quickly. So circle line blue, circle line green, cross line gold, and cross line red. And then actually, yes, this little station line, I also noticed as I was putting in, after I had put in this station right here, I noticed that this hub also has a metro station. So what I did was I created a little line that will go from here up to here. I don't know if anybody's going to use it, but we will check it out. So let's go ahead and let this run, and then we will come back and take a look at our results. Oh, actually, you know what? I always forget something. I also did get the metro up above ground in a couple of spots. So we got it above ground here, and then up here. This one is great. Oh, look at this. This huge, long above ground metro pops up over here and then comes around here. I think we got it so the ships don't crush through it. Actually, no, it's way too low. Ships are going to knock through it, but oh well. And then over here, we also have a little stretch that is out above ground, so I can get some good video of our metro trains cruising around. So let's go ahead and fire this up and see how our new metro does. So I always forget to take a look at the traffic, so let's go ahead and start out with that. It has dropped to 66%. It started out at 77, so a drop of 11%. And I'm going to have to admit here that the numbers are the worst that we've ever had. In terms of just the pure metro numbers have dropped down to 5736. It was just shy of 8,900 when it started, so that's a drop of 35%. Now, the bus and the tram both went up just shy of 11 and 18% respectively. But what's really interesting here is that a lot of the other numbers on the public transport that I didn't touch went down. The train went down 23%. The air traffic, air passengers went down 44%. That doesn't really bother me all that much. Those are connections to the outside. But then the monorail went down about 19%. The cable car went down 85%. And the taxis went down about 20%. So I'm a little confused here. I can't really tell if some of this is because of the conflict that we're having with the save game that I mentioned earlier. Honestly, when I was placing these stations, I did not do the regular detail work that I do trying to find good spots to put them, and I just kind of threw it down. Honestly, I was more concerned with getting these big sweeping bridges just because it's fun to have video of the metro when it's above ground. I have to say, I really enjoy it when the metro is above ground, and so I spent a lot of my time thinking about how to get it above ground and so that I could take video of it. But another thing that I've known for a while, but it really jumped out to me in this episode was the fact that stations that are in high-density areas are much, much higher use than those that are in low density. And as I'm thinking back to the original Metro in this town, I think that it really connected up all of the high density areas. So I think it'll be interesting. The last thing I want to do in this city is go back and add to that existing Metro a little bit, see if we can't fine-tune it a bit, and then let it run to see, let the simulation run to see what exactly happens with that Metro in this version of the game, and see if we can see what some of these, changes are just based on that original Metro, and see if some of these things happen as well with that one. So then I definitely am going to have to start looking for newer save games. It's just too complicated, and there's too much going on to really know if the Metro designs that I'm using are having an impact or not when you've got this other layer on top of that. So let's wrap up for this episode, and we will check back in the next one, see what happens in New Halifax Bay when we fine-tune that original Metro system. So for me, the biggest takeaway from this episode is that I should focus on newer save games to try to eliminate as many potential conflicts that make it hard to figure out whether the Metro changes are working or not. So that makes it all the more important that if you have a city that you think I could work on, don't be shy. There are directions in the description below on how to upload it to the Steam Workshop if you have never done that before. You can either email the link to the save game or send it to me on Twitter. It would be just awesome to work on a city from one of you, and you can let me know what specific types of transport you want to see in your city. And remember, every thumbs up for this video will make the sun shine just a little bit brighter each and every day. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell to help us on our way to 100 subs. So, I want to try that one last idea here in New Halifax Bay before moving on to find a newer city that hopefully won't give us quite as much trouble. So be sure to check back to see what happens, and until next time.
Merci d'avoir voyagé avec la STM.